All right, so in this video, we're going to do some practice problems on pages 16, 17, and 18. So if we take a look at the first set of directions here, it's going to say write an equation in point-slope form for a line given the slope and a point that it passes through. And so this is just a real good review of our point-slope form that we started talking about in our previous lesson. So we're going to say that point-slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And so we are in point slope form, we are looking to replace where this m is with the slope, and then where the x1 is and the y1 with the ordered pair that is specific to our problem. And so when I start with this information here, this is my slope, so that is my m value. And then my x1 is -5 and my y1 is 7. So I'm going to have y minus 7 equals 5 times x minus a -5. Minus a -5 turns it into a positive. So we're just practicing, given our slope and our point, writing the point slope form. So here m is -1/2 and our point is x1, y1. And so I'm going to have y minus a -3, turns that into +3, equals -1/2 times x minus a -8. And then our next one, slope is -5, and our x1, y1. So I'm going to have y minus 7 equals -5 times x minus 0. So go ahead and pause the video, try these next 3 problems here on your own, and then start the video back up and check your answers. All right, for this one here, we should have y minus 7 is equal to -3 times x minus 5. For our next one, we should have y minus a -1, turns it into a positive, equals 4/5 times x minus 9. And for this one, we should have y minus 0, which equals 3/4 times x minus a -8. That minus a negative turns that into a positive. All right, in our next set of problems, I'm going to move this up a little bit here. We are looking to be able to identify the slope and the point that are creating this point slope form. And be honestly, the slope is always the easiest one to pick out. If we look at the slope is always going to be between the equal sign and the parenthesis in point slope form. So that means that my slope is 2 here, my slope is -2/3 here, and my slope is 3/7 here. Now, the ordered pair is sometimes a little trickier, and that really is dependent upon whether or not we have a positive ordered pair, or a positive coordinate, or a negative coordinate. So if we go to look at our point here, here is x minus the x coordinate. So the x coordinate here was 8, and y minus the y coordinate. So the y coordinate here had to be a -5, because that -5 minus a -5 would turn that into a positive. Here is x minus the x coordinate was 8. Y minus the y coordinate was 1. Neither of these are turned into positive, so both of my coordinates were positive. Here we have x minus the x coordinate, so the x coordinate is 5. The y coordinate, we could see the y minus is not there, so that y value was a 0. So go ahead, take a second, pause the video, and try the next 3 problems. And when you go to check your answers here, our slopes pretty easily to identify between the equal sign and the parenthesis. Let's look at our points. This would be x minus a negative 2. That's what made that an x plus 2. And y minus a negative 6. That's what made it a positive 6 minus a negative. X minus the x value here is 9. Y minus a negative 4. The y coordinate is negative 4. X minus the x value, x is negative 4. That's what made that into a positive. And y minus the y coordinate. The y coordinate is negative, or is 7. All right, let's go ahead and move on here. This time it says write the equation of the line in point slope form of the line passing through the given points. And so if we're looking at this one here, we're given 2 points. And if we're given 2 points, the first thing we need to do is find the slope. Okay, so we're going to need to find the slope. The slope is the change in y, 5 minus 6, over the change in x, 7 minus 6. So 5 minus 6 is going to give us a negative 1. 7 minus 6 gives us a positive 1. Our slope here is negative 1. Now we're going to take and use that slope and select one of our points. And we're going to write point slope form. And so this is going to be y minus my y value equals my slope times x minus my x value. Now that is one possible answer if I use this point. If I decided to use this point, 7, 5, I would have y minus my y value equals negative 1 times x minus 7, and that would give me this. Remember that point slope form displays the slope and the point that is given to us. So if we are given multiple points, we have multiple point slope form. Okay, so if you want to pause the video, you can, and then come back on and check your answers for the final 2. Okay, so if I'm doing the slope here, 8 minus 2 over 3 minus a negative 3. 6 over 6 gives me a slope of 1. If I choose to do the first point here, I would have y minus 2 equals 1 times x minus a negative 3. And you could have this 1 here, or you could not have the 1 there. It's implied to be there. If you use this point, we would have y minus 8 is equal to 1 times x minus 3. So those are your 2 possible answers there. If we look at this last one here, finding the slope, is going to be negative 1/2. And so if we use the first point, we would have y minus 6 equals to negative 1/2 times x minus 4. If we use the second point, we would have y minus 4 equals negative 1/2 times x minus 8.